question I get all the time is, how do I improve the depth of my squat? Now, this has a lot of elements, but a lot of it actually has to do with how we move our hips when we're coming down into a squat. When we're squatting, our hips should be moving up and down in a straight direction. But as we look at people in the gym doing strength training, sometimes we see their hips travel forward and back or rotating forward and back. And this can play a part in why they're not getting the depth they want to achieve. When we're thinking about hip and rib cage position, when we're squatting, we ultimately should have these connected, and they should be able to maintain connected as we go down and as we come up. Depending on our individual hip range of motion, ankle and knee range of motion, we might need to rely on different types of squatting to get our optimal depth. When we look at the front squat, there is a requirement for a lot more ankle and knee range of motion to be able to keep a super upright torso, push those knees forward whilst keeping our load in the front rack position. However, if this same person puts the bar on their back, what they can sometimes find is they use their back extensor muscles to stay nice and tight, open up too much through their core, and then they end up folding forward. This can make it incredibly hard to get the depth they're looking for. So what do we do with this information? We can use all different types of tools to help improve our squat depth for each individual for their own individual needs. Examples can be using a heel elevation is going to really help if you have tight ankles or you find you can't keep your hips in that plane of motion when you're going up and down. The other thing we can do is transfer load into a front loaded position like a Zercher squat, a front squat, or a safety bar squat, or even a goblet squat, if you're struggling to maintain your rib cage and pelvic position as you go up and down in your squats. Something that can be really helpful is thinking about how you initiate the movement. For so many people, they were taught to poke their hips back before they bend their knees. They were also taught that knees maybe shouldn't go over their toes because that was going to be dangerous. What this means is if we stop and don't allow our knees to go over our toes, we're going to be doing a whole lot of hinging and potentially putting a whole load of pressure on our lower back. That's going to obviously impact our ability to add load, but it's also going to stop us from reaching maximum depth. Squatting is a great lower body exercise for building strength and also an accessory to different things like a clean or a snatch. If you are finding that a specific type of squat is challenging you, it might be worth looking at a different variation, because changing where we place the load changes the muscles that we're using, but can also help put us into a better position to achieve optimal depth.